Do you feel safe right now? I pose that question because many people wonder what it's like to be a female traveler, especially when I'm traveling alone. I get asked if I'm scared and how I stay safe. And I truly believe that it's important not to let fear keep you from what you love doing and dream of doing. But it's also important to acknowledge that safety is never a guarantee, no matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing. That said, today I'm going over my top safety protocols that will help you maintain a measure of security no matter what situation you're facing. In a previous video, I asked you to comment if you wanted more information on how to manage fears in 5 different scenarios, being dangerous people, dangerous animals, vehicle problems or road conditions, bad weather, and health issues. I do intend to go into each of those areas more specifically, more like a mini series. Some of you suggested that I do that, and I like the idea. But today I'm just going over my top protocols that really help you in any situation that you're in. My first tip is lock your doors. Whether you're in or out of your vehicle, always lock your doors. I don't have automatic locks on my doors, but that helps me to be hyper vigilant about always locking my doors because I have to think about it. I do it automatically now whenever I walk away from my vehicle. And when I get into my van to drive it, I lock my doors. And whether I'm just stopped at a rest area or I'm staying somewhere for the night, I always have my doors locked. In that same vein, I try to keep valuables out of view. I close these blackout curtains when I leave my vehicle so that you really can't see into the back. You may realize that it's a camper van and may have valuables there, but when it's out of sight, it's usually out of mind. Tip number 2, situational awareness. Ask any military or police officer or survival expert, and they will tell you that the number 1 best defense is situational awareness. Don't be distracted by looking at your cell phone when you're walking around, and be aware of other people that are around you. I usually do a quick survey or scan when I'm entering into a new area, whether that's in my vehicle or out of my vehicle walking around. If I'm going somewhere new, I always get a lay of the land. You'd be surprised what your subconscious picks up when you train yourself to be vigilant and alert. Always check your vehicle when you've been away from it for a while, even if it's a very short while, like when you're going to the bathroom in the gas station or at a rest area. Check your tires to make sure they're not suddenly flat, which could indicate that someone may have done it on purpose. And check through the windows to make sure everything looks the same as when you left it. If something seems off, go back to where you came from or back away and call someone for backup or to figure out what your next steps are. Another simple tip that can potentially save your life is to have somebody know where you're at all times. I know I talk about this a lot, but I think it's one of the easiest ways to ensure a decent measure of security. Have a safety word or a signal that you all know so that if you're in a situation where you can't talk freely, that contact person knows that they need to act on your behalf immediately. You may also want to consider having a personal tracking device like a GPS other than your cell phone. Like Garmin has a mini Garmin. You have to have a subscription for that, and I don't personally have that yet, though I have looked into it. I think if I were more far out in places where I know that it would be difficult to locate me, I would definitely look into that. But I do have other tracking devices that I have so that people can easily track me or I can track my vehicle in case my cell phone doesn't function properly or I'm out of service area. You can set up shortcuts to notify friends or the police in case of an emergency. Most iPhones these days have that already set up, but you may want to go to your settings to make sure that that is set up. Another thing you can always do if you are spooked or in a scary situation and you don't know what to do is call someone, and they can either talk you down or help you figure out what you're going to do in that situation. I think a lot of times when you're alone, you just get these ideas in your head, and if you just have someone to talk to, it makes it a lot less scary. Tip number 4, where you park is very important. Using apps like iOverlander and Campendium are very important for that, and there are a whole host of others. Those are just the 2 that I use, but they're very useful because they will give you information about cell service and other services or amenities that a place may have. And most importantly, they give reviews from other people about what their experience in an area has been. But you will always want to assess an area yourself to check for certain indicators that an area might not be safe. Some things that should alarm you, for instance, would be if there are a lot of bottles or needles in an area. That could mean that the area is used by locals to party, or by other people whose motives may be unclear. Gas station attendants and owners of local coffee shops or people who are working there, if they're from the area, can also give you information about where it may be safe or unsafe to be in an area. Another thing to think about when you're parking is whether or not you have a clear path of escape. I know a lot of people suggest backing into a parking spot so that it's easier to leave. But if you are blocked by another vehicle, backing into it to move it out of the way is probably better than hitting it head on to try to clear a path for yourself. Just saying. My point is that it is better just to try to ensure that you do have several paths to escape if that's at all possible. Sometimes it just isn't. But if you've already ensured that you're in a decent area already, that may not be such a big issue. And I've talked about this. Try to get there during the day. Again, that is not always possible, but that helps you to assess a situation a lot better. And always, always, always trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, even though it has checked all the other boxes, just leave. When you're in more of a public area, don't draw attention to yourself, especially if you're in an urban area parked on the street, or if you're in a parking lot like Walmart or Cracker Barrel. Just get there and be as quiet as you can and don't draw attention to yourself. If I pull into a truck stop or a rest area in the early evening because it's getting later and I didn't get to park where I wanted to or get there earlier in the day, I will not even leave my van until morning. I'll just get everything ready and go to bed, and then in the morning I'll get up and do whatever I needed to do. It's also important to consider having your van be ready to go before you go to sleep at night. You may get the infamous knock at the door, or there may be bad weather coming your way, or you may just hear voices or noises outside that scare you, that make you want to leave. And you'll want to be able to just grab your keys and go. And I've talked about this before, but you don't want to post on social media until you are long gone from an area. Tip number 5, safety tools. Your best defense if some kind of confrontation happens is to be able to make noise. When you're in your van and there is something going on outside, or you need to draw somebody's attention, the easiest way to do that is by laying on your horn. So you are going to want to make sure that your horn operates well. Bear horns not only scare bears and other animals, but can be used to scare off people as well. And if you are in danger somewhere and you need somebody to find you, it can also be used as an alert to have others be able to locate you. I also carry whistles with me, and I have a keychain alarm that makes a very loud sound. So those can be used both to alert others that you're in danger in some way, or help scare people off, and allow others to locate you if you are lost. Bear spray, pepper spray, and tasers are all personal equipment that you can use to help give you a sense of security as well. But the key to their effectiveness is practicing how to use them. Except for tasers, you probably won't find anyone who's willing to try out a taser. The point is, you don't want to wait until you are in a dangerous situation to figure out if you know how to use something. And as you navigate different states and different borders, you will want to know what licenses you need to have, or what is legal or not legal. And believe me, I found that out the hard way in Canada. You can watch that video if you want. And you will want to have the proper licenses or documentation for anything that I have mentioned or not mentioned. The idea is that being prepared allows you to effectively respond to any situation as it arises. Everything in life can seem a bit scary when it's something new or there are a lot of unknowns, but life's just too short to let fear get the best of us. I hope you've gotten some ideas on how to be prepared and keep yourself safe. I will be making videos on the 5 areas that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, so make sure that you're subscribed and have notifications on so that you will know when those come out. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I know a lot of people talk about backing into a parking spot in case you get blocked in. You can drive away, or it's easier to drive away that way. That way? A lot of ways there. Bear horns not only scare bears or animals, but they can use to be